All right, what's going on, y'all? Y'all know what it is, man. It's your boy Bo here. And I decided to do this video, right? Because normally, I go live because I like to say what I have to say right then. But I decided, you know what, man, I'm going to do a video on this since I got a little break here. Boxing is fucked up. Like, real talk, man, boxing is fucked up. And I'm at that point, dog, where I'm damn near ready to stop talking about it. But seriously, I'm at that point, I'm going to, hey, man, fuck boxing. I'm going to invest my time in some other shit and do some other things because I'm sick and tired of how a lot of this shit is going down in the sport of boxing. You got major hypocrites. You got serious motherfucking bias, okay? You got a bunch of goddamn liars. And then at the end of the day, all these entities outside of the sport that's not fighters are fucking it up. Let's just be real, man. Social media has given motherfuckers access to the sport who are biased and extremely hypocrites to the point to where fighters are tagging on their shit and they're feeding into that with their motherfucking lies. Right? Once upon a time, you heard certain things in boxing that was just dudes having stick. Now, that ain't these niggas having stick. This is how they really are. Seriously. Okay? Let's start with Dana White. Why in the fuck is Dana White getting all this fucking attention and all this praise? What has Dana White done so far in boxing? Like Eddie Hearn said it best, you've had 4 fight cards. That's it. 4 fight cards. 2 of them motherfuckers we can't even name. You're a fighter on fucking Sunday. Who in the fuck is able to watch a fight at 8, 9 o'clock at night on a goddamn Sunday? Who's able to watch that? Because you have to go to work in the morning. A lot of people get up at 6 a.m. to go to work. So if you watch a boxing match start at 9, you're not getting enough sleep. And then you have to go to work in the motherfucking morning. So who the fuck is watching boxing on a Sunday? And then you're on Paramount Plus. Let's keep it a buck. Nobody looks at Paramount Plus and says, that's where I want to go to watch boxing. Nobody's fucking saying that. You're on Paramount Plus because you had a contract with them for the UFC. So you figure, hey, man, let's do a double contract and let's give them boxing also as well, which is for boxing. That's why you're on Paramount Plus. You already had something with them, so you just slid that in with them. Because that was the open door lane for you. But let's keep it a buck. You ain't put on no damn shows that was great. You ain't put on no extravagant shows that everybody remember. I bet you if I ask people, hey, name me the last Zuffa boxing card. Name me the last Zuffa boxing card that you heard of. Fuck watched. Just heard of. And I'm going to say it one more time. You're on a goddamn Sunday, my dog. Y'all are on a fucking Sunday. Right? So it is not like that you're on a day when people are what? Boxing is known for taking place on a goddamn Saturday. HBO Boxing After Dark, fights, all that shit has always been on a goddamn Saturday. So you put boxing on a Sunday? That's just fucking ridiculous. Let's just call it what it is, man. It's fucking ridiculous. But Dana White is getting all this praise like he's doing something in the sport. He ain't doing nothing. Your fights at the Metaplex only hold 8,000 people. What the fuck are you doing? They just signed Shane Mosley Jr. Shane Mosley Jr., a dude that was a 9-world fucking champion. Let me say that again. Shane Mosley Jr. And for everybody out there that want to complain about how the IBF did J.O. Patel, keep one thing in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Dana White fucked everything up by talking about the fact that he don't want to recognize the sanctioning bodies. Okay, well, when you say that you don't want to recognize the sanctioning bodies, well, guess what you have? You have the sanctioning bodies literally saying, okay, well, then fuck you then. But the reality is you're trying to pass that Zuffa belt off like it's a world title. And if you're trying to do that, then the IBF is going to say, well, we don't recognize that as a world championship belt. Give us our shit back. Right? And that's what's going on. Which brings me to Max Kellerman. He has turned into the biggest gurgler, butt kisser that I've ever seen. Like, this is beyond company man shit. Because Max Kellerman, who's now trying to advocate that we don't need the sanctioning bodies. Oh, I forgot about the sanctioning bodies. This is the same Max Kellerman that was on HBO that was praising the sanctioning bodies. Understand one thing. Let me explain something to y'all. The IBF is probably only one of the ones out of all the sanctioning bodies that really follow the fucking rules down to the letter of the goddamn law. The IBF does not have scandal. This is not like we're talking about the WBC. The IBF does not have scandal. You don't see I think it's Peoples. You don't see him all out there in the public eye. The IBF, they make sure their mandatory fighter fights for the title. They follow the rules to the letter of the goddamn law. So if the IBF, you have a problem with the IBF, it's not the IBF, it's you. Because let's make one thing clear, Max Kellerman, because I like how when they talked about the sanctioning bodies, they didn't talk about what the IBF put out to explain why they did what they did. The IBF snatched their sanctioning off of that fight because they were being told that the fight for the Zuffa boxing belt was for a world title. That's what they're being told. The IBF on their website explained all of this shit. Right? On their website. Like, it's funny how they didn't say go to the IBF website so they can tell you why they did it. No, they didn't do that. They're pushing a narrative that J.O. Patel got punished because he wanted to fight for the Zuffa belt. OTX, which is Overtime Boxing, they have one of their belts out there. But it's a known fact that, when you fight for OTX, that's just like it's a trophy, right? When you fight for Undisputed, don't Turkey come out with an Undisputed belt and gives it to you? Well, you understand it's just a trophy. Zuffa Boxing wasn't trying to do that. Zuffa Boxing was trying to pass their belt out like it was a world title. And mind you, the IBF on their website already said they was talking to Opatea's team. They was under the understanding that that's what it was. It was just a trophy until the announcement came out. It was for a world title. So when that happens, guess what they're going to do? They're going to snatch their belt out. But did Max Kellerman tell you that? No. Is Max Kellerman out? He's out there saying, forget the sanctioning bodies. Wait a minute. Aren't you the same dude that back when Floyd and you was on HBO and all that was talking about the sanctioning bodies and how you need those belts to become a legitimate, recognized world champion? Aren't you the dude that said that? Aren't you the guy who was advocating for world title fights, saying how, hey man, you need to be the man, you need to win all the belts, become undisputed to be legit? When you all talk about the pound for pound list, do you not add the fact that this motherfucker beat a qualified other world champion? So now all of a sudden, because you're with the ring and the ring is attached to Zuffa, so now all of a sudden, that shit don't matter. So now all of a sudden, everything that you used to advocate and preach about the sport of boxing don't mean nothing anymore because why? You're getting a better paycheck now. You're getting a different paycheck now. And I guess that paycheck came with undivided loyalty to go against your own morals and what you know to be fucking true. I guess that's what that paycheck did. And it's fucking sickening. It really and truly is. It is fucking sickening. It makes no goddamn sense. Okay? If y'all hear the helicopter, man, it's because, I'm the area that I'm in. And I just had to get this off my chest because if I don't say this now, I will forget. So I'm going to try to do the best I can, you know what I'm saying, to muffle out that helicopter noise. Right? But at the end of the fucking day, Max Kellerman has turned out to be one of the biggest hypocrites that there is in boxing because every time he talks and says things, it makes no fucking sense. It really does. It's like, dude, wait a minute, man. That's not how you felt before. I remember when PBC was talking about something they was only going to do, fights, in-house fights. And everybody lost their fucking minds about that shit. Everybody lost their fucking minds about that shit. Max Kellerman included. Oh, but now that Zuffa's doing it, it's all right. Now that Zuffa Boxing is doing it, it's okay. Like, Max Kellerman has turned into everything he's talked about the sport, everything he used to say about the sport of boxing. We got to forget that. Because now boxing has turned into where you can buy motherfucking loyalty. You can buy motherfucking, niggas' morals and shit. All that shit now is for sale. So shit is for sale now in boxing. That's what the sport has become. You're buying mouthpieces. You ain't buying honesty. You ain't even buying to make us good fights. You're just buying the mouthpieces to push narratives, whether narratives is true or not. and not realizing how much it's hurting the fucking sport of boxing. Because like I said, I'm at that point, I'm like, man, fuck boxing. I don't even want to hear about it. I don't even want to talk. Fuck boxing. Seriously. Fuck it. Right? Now let's get to the fathers. So you got Floyd Schofield Sr. out here. And he always got something to say. But here's the funny thing about it. Your son ducked out of 2 fights, dog. What can you possibly say about anybody when your son ducked out of 2 fights? What can you possibly add or have to say about anybody out here when your son ducked out of 2 motherfucking fights? What can you possibly say, sir? I'm very curious as to what you can possibly say when your son ducked out of 2 fights. Your son still have not had that one significant fight against a top-level fighter. That has not happened yet. But he has everything to say about everybody. Like, everybody else is scared to fight his son. Everybody else is scared to fight his son, but your son ducked out of a fight. Let's keep it real. Your son ducked out of a fight. 2 of them. Twice. Your son ducked out of a fight. If you want to go that route that they were sick and all that shit, okay. But nobody's believing that. But then you're trying to say that the other team is the one that poisoned you. Come on, man. Stop it. Stop it. What would Shakur Stevenson have to do with the poison you, man? Stop it. Stop it. Y'all wasn't ready and you knew you wasn't ready, and this is what you did, man. But you shouldn't be out here talking when your son ducked out of a fucking fight. And that's just the truth. Okay? Let's look at Henry Garcia. Henry Garcia, now, I'm not going to go. Here's the thing about Henry Garcia, because I don't really listen to him a lot. I hear sound bits and stuff that he says. And the thing about it is, because I just recently heard Henry Garcia say he don't want to hear nothing about Ryan coming in 3 pounds overweight because Devin took the money. Now, Haney and his team, I absolutely agree, they can't complain about it. But analysts and pundits and all of us, we can complain about that. We can say, whoa, wait a minute. Because y'all didn't come in on weight. And on top of that, your son cheated. So he may have taken the money for the 3 pounds overweight, but he damn sure didn't take the money knowing your son was on steroids or PEDs or whatever the fuck you want to call it. He went in that ring with an advantage, and we all know that. So let's not act like that didn't happen. Let's not act like your son, don't talk like your son, what we saw, your son did not test positive. Let's not act like your son didn't pop. Let's not act like that. Now, if you want to say about the 3 pounds, Team Haney can't talk about it, but I can. I can sit here and criticize him for that. Analysts can. They can sit there and criticize them for that. Other fighters can. Because when you don't make weight, you know you did that shit on purpose. Now, you're all right that when you take the money, shut up, I don't want to hear about it, which I agree with that. You take the money, don't say nothing about it. But don't act like your son didn't pop either, though. Because he may have took the money for the weight. He damn sure didn't know your son was going to pop. Because if you'd have said, hey, he's overweight and he might pop hot, I'm quite sure they'd have been like, nah, man, fuck that. Nah, this fight is off. Fuck that fight. I don't care for how much money you offer us. And even Oscar, who wants to say, well, he demolished him. Yeah, he demolished him, Oscar, because he cheated. He demolished him, Oscar, because... Which he didn't demolish him. I mean, he had the knockdowns. When you watch that fight outside of the knockdown, show me what Devin was, not like, you can make the case that outside of the knockdowns, there were rounds Devin Haney actually won. It's just he had several fucking knockdowns. And he did. He had several fucking knockdowns. Y'all can sit there and say, oh, you crazy, you don't know what you're talking about. Watch the fight. Watch the fight. Watch the fight. Because you got to give him the rounds where he knocked Devin Haney down. But outside of the knockdowns, outside of rounds where he had the knockdowns, you can make a case Haney won that fight. So it wasn't that he demolished him, but okay, fine, whatever. I'm not gonna argue that with y'all because I understand motherfuckers gonna see what they want to see and believe what they want to believe. You can't convince people otherwise, regardless how much sense that shit makes. But at the end of the day, this is what I know. He popped. So because he popped, yeah, we need to see a rematch because guess what? After he beat Dev and popped, then he went in there against Rolly and got stopped. He got not stopped. I'm sorry, take it back. He didn't get stopped. But he got beat the fuck up. He got beat the fuck up. And all these excuses are being made for him, including his dad. But he got beat the fuck up. So if he was, so you can't say, well, you know, the PEDs, really wasn't a factor. Yeah, it was, because in the very next fight that he was in, this motherfucker went in there against Rolly, who I believe have a weaker chin than Dev, but he went in there against Rolly Romero and got beat the fuck up. And then he couldn't even knock out Mario Barrios. Although I will say Barrios is a tough nigga motherfucker to knock out, but he couldn't stop Mario Barrios. And for people to say, well, name me somebody else that got up from a left, Ryan Garcia's left hook. There's a few people that got up from Ryan Garcia left hook. But the reality is, it doesn't matter to me whether they have or not. Let's not act like Ryan didn't pop hot. Team Ryan need to stop acting like your son didn't pop hot. So yes, you need to rematch Devin Haney. Why? Because you popped. And because you popped, we need to know, hey, can you beat him if you ain't cheating? Because if the shoe was on the other foot and it was Devin that won and popped hot, Oscar De La Hoya would be screaming to the high heavens. Henry Garcia would be screaming to the high fucking heavens for a fucking rematch. As a matter of fact, if Devin Haney popped hot, they'd be talking about his whole goddamn career might be in jeopardy, because they'd be looking at his whole fucking career. So yeah, let's stop the bullshit. Because he popped, then his performance against Rolly Romero, that rematch needs to happen. But stop saying that he's scared to have that fight. No, that's not true. Y'all motherfuckers ain't looking to make the fight right now. Devin is finna fight Rolly Romero, because y'all was talking about some fighting Shakur Stevenson. So Devin finna fight Rolly fucking Romero. And we all know that after he beats Rolly, y'all will be talking again. So let's stop the nonsense. Let's stop the bullshit. Right? The other person I want to talk about, I'm going to make this brief, which is Brian Norman Sr., man. Here's another guy, because he said something about how he heard that Devin Haney is microdosing. This is his words. He said Devin Haney is microdosing, which is bullshit. Unless you got proof, shut the fuck up. But here's my problem with Brian Norman Sr. You telling me you heard he was microdosing. Okay, when did you hear this? Was this before or after your son got beat? Because if it was before your son got beat, y'all still took the fight, right? Now, if it's after your son got beat, then I'm really not trying to hear it, right? Because at the end, because you sound salty. Your son got beat convincingly, and then guess what happened? He got rid of you. Your son not even backing you in this statement, because he's saying, hey, unless it comes from Brian Norman Jr., I ain't with that. So he pretty much ain't backing you with this. But you're mad because you lost, your son got beat, and on top of that, he got rid of you. So you're taking out on Devin, talking about something, he's microdosing, when the reality was you didn't do your job as a trainer to prepare your son for what was coming in that ring. You all thought Devin Haney was food. You all thought Devin Haney was suspect with his chin and everything else. You all went into that fight with full confidence you would win. And then when you lost, you could not hold your L. Just like a lot of motherfuckers couldn't hold their L's that happens in boxing. I remember Ryan Garcia couldn't hold that L to Tank. Remember, he lost to Tank, and that's all you heard was, oh, Tank with the weight and this and that. He couldn't hold that motherfucking L. Lopez, who's on this picture, he's the same goddamn way. He couldn't hold that L when he lost to George Kambosos. Hold your L. Your son lost. Hold that L, man. You out here talking about somebody microdosing. And I believe, listen, let me tell you something, I believe all of these dudes is on some shit. I don't believe there's no innocent players here. Everybody's on some shit. But at the end of the day, if you ain't got proof, you just sound salty. You sound like a guy that lost. Then you're no longer part of your son's career because he wants a new trainer and coach. And now you're mad and you pissed off and you want to blame somebody. Instead of looking in the mirror blaming yourself, you want to blame another fighter. Which brings me to Teofimo Lopez. His son just lost to Shakur Stevenson. But like I said, when they first lost to George Kambosos, oh man, they was all over the place. Matter of fact, Tio was talking about, oh, I beat myself because I couldn't breathe and all that. I beat myself. Okay, now, Tio, to his credit, he's holding his L. His dad isn't. His dad is like, throwing Tio under the bus. He didn't listen to me. He didn't do what I say and all that. The shit is bad. The shit is really bad. It's really, really bad, y'all. This shit's really bad. Okay? But at the end, he's another dude. All these things you have to say, all this talking that you're doing. Dude, stop talking and be a better trainer with your son. In the moment your son needed you the most, you failed him. Why? Because you didn't give him the right instructions to beat Shakur Stevenson. You didn't tell him what to do in the corner. Telling him to let's get going, bro. Fucking hit this dude. How? Tell him how to hit this dude. Tell him what strategy to apply. Tell him these things. Help him out when he comes to that corner. But that's not what he did, and that's not what he's doing. And that's sad to see. It really is sad to see. And last but not least, that brings me to Turki Alalshikh. See, Turki was crowned the savior of boxing before he even saved boxing. Turki was given the keys to the kingdom. Turki was pretty much given a blank check, and Turki pretty much came in the sport with a blank check, and it opened all these doors. And now, in my opinion, he's trying to ruin boxing. Seriously. Understand, Turki's behind Zuffa. Let's get that straight. He's behind Zuffa. So everything Dana White is spewing, Turki knows this. So he's behind Zuffa, right? He also owns the ring. That's why Max Kellerman and all these people are saying all these things. Like the ring was never prevalent at all. Like now they got a podcast and everything. The ring was never prevalent like that. Let's keep it real. The Ring magazine, it wasn't prevalent like that. People wasn't really like, oh man, let me see what the ring. Now they're everywhere because they're saying some of the wildest shit. But they got the faces on there, right? They got faces that people recognize on there talking shit, and they're going with that fucking agenda. But Zuffa, the ring, and then of course you like even BoxRec. You go to BoxRec, you don't even see the WBA on BoxRec no more because they got beef with Turki. But I can't sit there and say that I believe this man is for boxing. No, I don't. I don't believe that. Why did we not get Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez? We got Canelo versus Crawford. Why aren't we getting him versus David Benavidez? All these fights that he promised he would make. What's going on? Why is Frank Warren suing him? Frank Warren has a lawsuit against Turki. Why is Frank Warren suing him? See, there was a lot of promises that was made. Like I said, he came in with a blank check, right? And it opened up a lot of doors. But you notice he's not saying anymore, I want to make the best fights for the fans. He's not saying that anymore, is he? Is Turki saying that? He's not saying that anymore. So on the one hand, he's over there with DAZN and Riyadh season. On the other hand, he's behind Zuffa. So where is he? Is he for the sport or is he against the sport? Because if you're telling me you're trying to get rid of the sanctioning bodies and you're behind Zuffa, then you're not for the fucking sport. How are you for the sport if that's what you're trying to do? See? So he got one hand over here with Riyadh season and DAZN, overpaying fighters that Dana White's out here talking about some fighters are being overpaid. And then think about this too. Look at what he helped Dana White do when it comes to Conor Benn. You think Turki didn't know about Conor Benn? So Eddie Hearns has every right to feel some kind of way because, like, wait a minute, you know Conor Benn's one of my fighters. You fucking know that. Then we found out that they tried to get Joshua. You know Joshua's one of my fighters. You fucking know he's one of my fighters. Why you think Top Rank is mad at Turki? They mad at him. Why? Because he went and got Jared Anderson, had Jared Anderson fought Martin Piccoli. He didn't talk to nobody from Top Rank. He didn't talk to none of the guys from Top Rank. He talked to the fighter. Now, the fighter, and this is why I say fighters will fight. The fighter said, okay, I'll fight him. He had no problem with fighting because that's what fighters fucking do. And I always said that there was only maybe a 1 or 2 times I may have heard a fighter say something that made me feel like they scared, but 90% of the time, it's not the fighter. It's his team. Like what's going on with Virgil Ortiz, that's his team. Virgil listened to Rick Marinian, and Rick Marinian fucked him. He fucked him because he didn't have his facts right. See? But at the end of the day, Turki is the one that's paying out, that gave Conor Benn all this money. He's the one that's behind Zuffa, right? Well, you got to ask yourself, how much of the sport is he actually? Is he really good for the sport? Is he really? I'm being straight up honest. Is this dude really, really good for this fucking sport? Because I'm no longer hearing him talking about how he wants to make the best fights. Then I'm looking at what's going on with Zuffa. Understand, Dana White is just the mouthpiece and the figurehead. But Turkey knows this is what Dana White is saying, and Turkey knows what the script is. Now, on the other hand, they saying that, then they went out and got J.O. Patea, wound up getting him stripped. So how much can we trust this dude? Because he's going to make fights that fits his best interest. Because understand, he has to prove all that money he's spending, they want to see a return. And if they don't see a fucking return, something's going to give. So at the end of the day, how much can we trust him? Because he has his own agenda. He has his own things that he's trying to do. He has his own ideas. And they do not always align with us. It does not always align with what's best for the sport of boxing. All of these guys, every last one of these guys, the promoters, these people I'm talking about, these analysts, everything move they do, from the zone to match everybody, they doing it in the best interest of them. It's what's in their best interest. They only make a fight when the money is there. Think about how much money had to be thrown out there on the table to get Eddie Hearns and Frank Warren to make fights. Remember we had that Warren versus Eddie, Queensberry versus Matchroom, that 5-on-5? Think about the money had to be thrown out to have that happen. At the end of the day, man, like I said, I'm going to end it with this. Understand that boxing, if we don't get a hold on this shit, if we don't stop with the hypocrites, if we don't stop with the double talk, if we don't stop with all this fakeness and fraudness that's going on in the sport, if we don't stop with the tearing it down by talking shit about the fighters or saying shit that we know is not true, if we don't stop making it seem like, oh, this motherfucker didn't do that, or when this guy do it, it's okay, but when that person does it, it's not okay. If we don't fucking stop that shit right now, boxing ain't gonna make it 3 fucking years. Boxing ain't gonna make it the next 3 fucking years. And then everybody, instead of talking about what happened, everybody be looking to point the fingers and blaming people. But the reality is, this is where it's happening right now. This is where it's happening right now. All this shit that's going on, this is where it's happening right now, man. All right, y'all, I'm out.